Do. Hello, folks. Welcome back. Another day, another $1, $2, $1 billion if you're Elon. So we're going to talk about Elon today, that's for sure. That guy he stinks. I don't like him much. It is real time. You are talking to me. Can you hear me? Well, hey guys. Welcome from the Queen City here, Radio City, Cincinnati, part of America, part of the semi-free state of America, semi-free state of Ohio. Welcome to the party. We're going to talk about a couple of things today. This is the first time I have actually done this without going on Tony's show before, which is fun. Hopefully, a lot of you folks came over from there. Hopefully, some of you came over for that dying husk of an app known as Twitter. Hopefully some of you came over from all sorts of other places. Hey, Jim, you're telling me I'm loud and clear. I don't know if that's good or bad. We'll find out. Lefty Graham, safe from Columbus, Ohio. I know that place. I lived up there for a bit. Minnesota's in the house. Hippie-porium. Excellent. We love it. We love our Minnesota. As you guys know, I go on with my pal Matt McNeil up there. Fantastic. We got to have him on one of these shows. You know, I don't know why I haven't done that yet. So this is going to mostly be a little bit of a rant from me, a little bit of an opinion from me, and then we're doing a you tell me what you want to talk about. Yesterday, folks, we went for 2 hours and 8 minutes. Huh? Tony and his 2 hours. Seriously, we went. When I started these off, I planned to do these for 45 minutes. If that doesn't tell you much, I enjoy them. And yesterday, how much Brian Karam can really one of the few people that I think can out-talk me, and that is a skill. It's a skill set you have to work hard to build up. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing Brian yesterday, those of you who are here. But combination of going on Hal Sparks' show yesterday, going on Tony's show to intro this one for 20 minutes. So that's why we thought we'd try it today with no intro, see if you still showed up, or if I'm just a tree falling in the forest. And this 2 hour and 8 minute show, I ended up being on air for 3.5 hours yesterday, 3 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah. That was tiring. Glad I did it because we all need to, as I've said before, this is some therapy right now. And also I think a good, smart group of people can have fun, talk about important issues. We had some important conversations yesterday. We learned some stuff from Brian and Tony, maybe a little bit from me even. And then I think, we work stuff out. We move forward. And we have each other here as support, which I think is also really important right now. You probably heard, basic news. I'm sure you know Marco Rubio is going to be our Secretary of State. Remember the guy that said Donald Trump is a con man? He's been a con man all his life. And if he weren't running for president, he'd probably be selling watches out in the street. And of course, then Donald Trump ended up selling gold watches. So Rubio actually got that part right. But the part he got wrong was the part where he thought he had any integrity. He thought he could just share Bible verses on the Twitter and he'd be all good. And now he'll be Secretary of State. We have Grandma Gravel Pit, who fits perfectly in. Oh my God, does Kristi Noem not fit this administration? She is trashy. She's like trashy Miss America. She's perfect. She's perfect. Remember, she started swaying back and forth with Trump. His little impromptu concert where he lost his mind. Well, he didn't lose his mind for 40 minutes. He never really had it, but for 40 minutes decided he couldn't answer questions. He would sway back and forth. And that convinced some people to vote for him because we're America, and the mainstream media talked about it as if he was, how did they refer to it? He was swaying back and forth to the music as opposed to he was ambling back and forth, leaning like the Tower of Pisa about to fall over. Rubio's a nightmare. He's reading Trump. Sorry, we got a comment, and I'm going to try to do as many of these as I can from Sela. He's reading Trump Bible these days. So yeah, Trump's actually his Jesus. It's Trump Jesus. Those Bible quotes are as fake as Marco Rubio's always been. Little Marco. And, Trump probably chose him because he looked at him and he's like, he's from Cuba originally. Let's make him Secretary of State. Just like Vivek Ramaswamy. You know how Trump's little mind works. He's like, Now those guys, they're a darker shade. They probably know how to talk to all those other people out there that look different than me. That's pretty much the level that Donald Trump's little brain operates on. I feel like I missed a. Did I miss somebody like giving memberships or something? Or maybe that's in like my nightmares now. I don't mean nightmares. I mean dreams. Because you guys are awesome for doing that. So that was a really stupid use of phrase. I meant my nightmares that I missed it. If you did, I apologize. Please, somebody tell me who that was, and I will give them credit. So, a couple important things. Let's start with my rant about the media, because that's one of the reasons we're here. Okay, guys, I'm going to do some simple math with you, and I know you're smart, so you can do this with me. When somebody is ahead by, let's say, 5 percentage points, something like that, but you know there's 20 or 30 or I don't know how many million votes still out, a lot of them in California, place that even in a bad year for us, we win 60-40, probably over 60%. I didn't see it. I think 62, 63. You guys can tell me. Then we know that a lot more votes have yet to be counted, and that they're likely going to go in the Democrats' direction, when the Democrat also always wins Oregon and Washington. They're not swing states. So, and there's some other states that just have some big cities that count a little slower. New York City is this large place. You guys probably heard of it. Big Apple, really large Apple. 9 million, 8 million, I mean, million people live there. I was one of them. I grew up there for years. So I'm wearing this hat. But all those votes still had to come in, and they were going to go in our direction. So anyone want to take a guess there at anyone? Don't have me jump off a cliff. Yeah, that's okay. I almost went with that. I almost went with cliff diving as the name of my channel. I decided on Cliff's Edge as more of an edgy walk up to the edge, you know, the mini meetings. But well, when somebody, when you say about him declaring victory, we're not going to get enough votes to overcome it. There weren't enough votes for that. My problem is the media, as usual, helped Republicans and gave this narrative of a landslide. Oh my God, the biggest win, I just looked and I think, what was it? Out of the 40, he's the 47th president. Now, I may have to look at a different app. Let's hope my computer doesn't crash and lets me come back. There it is. His popular vote lead. We're still going. Hold on. Well, I've got it right here, essentially. Let's stop building the drama. Trump is up by 1.4% as of the last counting. Okay? 1.4%. It's like, what is it, 2 to 3 million votes, something like that. And there's still more votes coming in. Now it's looking like he will win by about 1% to 1.2%. I believe there's even a slight chance he could fall below 1%. What I was looking for is there was somebody who had said how bad that was. And I think I've got his feed here. A 1.5% popular vote win, or as it would be called anywhere else a win, this is from Kurt Anderson, would put his margin at 50th among all 55 presidential elections. Does that sound like a landslide to you guys? Basically, the only people he's ahead of are himself when he lost the popular vote, George W. Bush when he lost the popular vote, 2 other presidents who lost the popular vote in the 19th century. Yes, I think this actually maybe the smallest popular vote victory ever. That might make you feel at least a little bit better about things, which is, again, if he ends up winning this thing by between 0.8% and 1.2%, I'm not going to tell you we're not still upset. We don't have work to do. Big gains among Latino men, Muslims, other groups, or whites without college education. But that ain't a landslide, folks. That's a 50-50 decision is what that is. And yes, the fact that it's a 50-50 decision when one of the people was a mutinous cretin, a January 6th addict, a flatulent, Constitution-hating, what else should we call him? I don't know. Convict comes to the mind pretty easily. Assaulter comes to mind. In any case, yeah, not what you want. What do we have here? So Louis Joyce pulled his office time last time. He only had 5 months, and he only got him. Georgia missed throwing out mail-in ballots. Well, yeah, I heard there are mail-in ballots that were not counted yet. Certainly. Look, I don't have evidence to sit here and say to you, so I'm not going to do it because I believe in working with evidence that Kamala actually won the popular vote. Kamala has 1 million more votes in California, so he is up 3 million total. That will make it 2 million, right? And I think there's still a few out from other states. So what I'm saying is, like this, he's at 1.4%. Last I saw 2 hours ago, he's not going to end up winning by 1.4%. It's going to fall, I think, to at least 1.2. Could fall to 1.1. Could fall to 1. In what world is that a landslide? But that's what the media did, because it's election night and we got to get there first, and we got to get ready to turn to our channel because we care about profit, which is why we need to create everything Brian Karen was talking about yesterday, nonprofit media. We need to have media that where we pass regulations where there are responsibilities that come first to the people, not to the shareholders. We need to break up monopolies because this is ridiculous. And it hurt our democracy because now a lot of people are walking around like Trump won huge, man. He didn't. And in fact, if you changed around, you remember they used to play that game with Biden and everything? If you changed around 275,000 votes, maybe less than that now, in the swing states, you get Kamala Harris winning. 275,000 out of the tens of millions, hundreds of millions, 100 and whatever. I mean, 150 million votes, 175 million vote, whatever. So, I mean, again, this is what we're talking about. The worst popular vote win in the history of the United States. Unless, again, there may be one I'm missing, but I think there's only been 4. If his is the 5th, there've only been 4 popular vote losers, including him. So this would have to be the worst popular vote victory, unless that Kurt Anderson, who's a reporter, had that stuff. I think he's a reporter, had that stuff wrong. And again, like, you know, overall, who knows? I mean, when you start getting that close, little things can change things here and there. I don't think there necessarily would be enough votes in any of those states, again, that I know about, for this to have changed. But I think it's important. And I think it's important, please, that you all go out and you share this with everyone you know. Put it on Facebook, put it on TikTok, put it on Snapchat, put it on, you know what, put it on the Twitter machine, although I'm going to tell you I am solely moving off Twitter. That'll be on the next topic. But put it everywhere you can. Tell everybody you can. I'm going to, honestly, literally, I'm going to go and just rip into members of the media that repeat this garbage. Because this dude won a split decision. He barely won, and he won with a whole lot of lies and a huge right-wing propaganda apparatus. That's how he won. And more, but, you know, we can talk about mainstream media failures and other things. Merrick Garland, thanks again for not doing your job for 4 years. I know you guys voted Xavier. I know you did. You're here. I would be very shocked if any person who's here who cares this much did not vote. New member, Wendy Cano. That may be what I missed earlier. Thank you, Wendy. Can I put that up on the thing? I don't know if I can, but Wendy Cano, new member, you're awesome. Thank you. Again, those memberships, I am still, this is hard, especially with this election and everything. I am sorting everything out. I'm probably going to change some of the benefits and make them cooler and more interesting in the YouTube members, but know that you will get additional content. You will get additional ideas. I've already done some, not nearly enough. There will be a lot more. But again, if we're going to summarize this, 1% is not a landslide. In no world that exists, in no country that exists, in no universe that exists, is 1% a landslide. Okay. That's one thing we had to get to today. What else do we have to get to today? Twitter. That's what we have to get to. Hippiporium, new YouTube member. You are fantastic. You Minnesotan, you. Thank you for being here. Glad to have you. So I am winding myself down on the Twitter machine. I stayed there for the election. I'm still staying there, and I'm going to stream there. I am going to, so this stream is going to Twitter. Because when it's in use of promoting us and what we're doing, I think we need to do it. I'm going to share my videos, the recorded ones there. But I will no longer be putting up, for the most part, I mean, there'll be exceptions here and there. I will no longer be sharing my independent thoughts, ideas, anything of that nature for Elon's little apartheid zoo. I'm just not going to do that. And so I've come to the conclusion that before the election for messaging, it was important. We are post-election now. We're in a different atmosphere. And he has proven who he is. He's a despicable, disgusting creature. And in the end, what's going to end up happening there? Who knows? He may be moving in the Trump administration soon. He already is. He's taking calls from Putin with Trump. He was already taking them from Putin on his own, and then runs Starlink. That's obviously not a conflict of interest to have him have defense contracts, but talk to Putin privately. Again, hi, Merrick Garland. Where are you? Or were you? Viva la resistance, JD Christie. Thank you for $9.99. We do love super chats here, folks. The more I get, the more of the stuff I can do. And I really feel bad that I haven't sort of updated membership stuff. I'm going to do it, I swear to you. That's somebody next to me coughing a lot. Office walls are not as thick as you would hope. Even though I put up some sound dampeners. What else do we have, guys? So let's get back to where I was. I'm on Blue Sky. If you're never on Twitter, you won't care. If you were on Twitter or are on Twitter, you'll go to Blue Sky, and it's like, do you remember that phrase, the thing that was read about Andy Dufresne in Shawshank? Andy crawled to freedom through 500 yards of smelling foulness I can't even imagine. Maybe I just don't want to. 500 yards, the length of 5 football fields, just shy of half a mile. Andy Dufresne, who crawled through a river of beep and came out on the other side. Yeah. And I'm sorry, guys, because as you know, I'm not a beep type or whatever, but I keep getting hit with limited advertising. I don't know. Only the lives. I can curse apparently in recorded stuff, and you'll hear it, but the live stuff YouTube keeps nailing me, and obviously I have to be able to make revenue from doing these. So I'm going to try not to curse, and you don't know how painful this was going to be for me. I go on Stephanie Miller's show and usually do okay, though I messed up once last time. I'm going to try my best because I'm really getting frustrated with them giving me this unlimited ad availability stuff. But to go back to, well, this is interesting. Let's see. Vance endorsed the book Unhumans. It's fascist and women-hating. Bannon wrote the foreword. Well, of course, yes. It turns out a lot of that, the doubling, the tripling down on the male bro stuff, it sadly worked for them. Cynthia Bartolomeo, like Romeo, I'm going to go with. You're a YouTube member. Thank you so much for joining. Awesome. But the thing about Twitter is that Elon's the head. I mean, he's literally maybe second in command to Thiel in the broligarchy. And they're the ones dreaming up our future of there being cyborgs and they should control society because they're better than us. And capitalism is more important than democracy and they can't coexist, which Peter Thiel has said. If you want it. So there's a point where I can't contribute to what Elon's doing anymore. And if I don't think that I'm reaching enough people and helping enough people, video is easy, right? Because they're not getting into independent individual content there. They're getting something I'm sharing in a lot of places. But I'm not going to share stuff for Elon to monetize. And I'm not telling you all what to do. Because Tony Michaels earlier, we just had that disagreement, which I said before, we should be able to have these conversations. He's going to stay. I'm going to stay there. I've got about 95,000 followers. I'm not going to shut my account down. Videos will be put up there. Other things will be put up there that have been put up in other places. But I'm not going to get into engagement with folks. I'm not going to give Elon that. I'm not going to debate things back and forth, even discussions back and forth there. Blue Sky, guys, is my new home. I read to you that. I got off track a little bit, but I read to you my little Andy Dufresne quote. I can't tell you. It's Blue Sky, honestly, was a brilliant name if they knew they were going to be taking on the cesspool of Twitter, because you climb out of this cesspool and you suddenly feel like you've taken this warm shower, been cleaned off. There aren't the right-wing lunatics anywhere. And here's the beauty. 2 key things. So it looks like old Twitter. That's great. A lot of your friends will be there now, people heading over there. Awesome. But 2 key things, 2 reasons you should go to Blue Sky. And I'm going to give those to you. One is you can DM folks. You can't do that on any of the other platforms besides Twitter. DMs are crucial. You want to be able to reach out to people, organize. You need them. And the second reason I'm going to give you is I love this so much. Imagine if you could do this in life. I want to create this. Can you guys help me create this? Come up with ideas. So here's what we do, guys. We create an app where everybody who self-identifies as MAGA just disappears. You push a button and they're gone. Like in real life. I probably shouldn't have said that. In any case, that's what you can do in Blue Sky. And you know they all love to self-identify because they're proud. Hey, I'm a MAGA tough guy. You know, I've got no job, and I just voted to get rid of my own health care, all my union benefits, and or I just voted to get myself deported, or you know, I just voted to take all rules and regulations off of warfare in the Middle East. But you know what the heck, man? You know, I'm fighting the power. Yeah, well, everybody who self-identifies as MAGA, gone in one button push. That's right. Automated removal of garbage. We have it in other parts of our life. Why shouldn't we have it there? So yes, follow me to Blue Sky. I saw some folks saying that. Who said that? You were very kind that you will follow me there. Let's see what we can do here. This should work. Let's see if it does. Does that work? There you go. And for some reason, I don't know why this is happening, and maybe one of my mods can tell me because they're smarter than I am, why everything I keep putting in here keeps popping up twice. I promise you, it's not a messaging thing where I'm trying to beat you over the head with stuff, and you must see what I say. But that's where I am. Please come by. I would tell you to join. If you want to have a place to organize other than, you know, some of the places we're at that work pretty well, YouTube obviously is still going to be my first home, and I'm about less than 7,000 away from 100,000. So I'm really excited, and that's when I think things start really speeding up, and we're going to create this community and you know, make it. I've talked to folks about a Discord. I don't know. We join with Tony's. I could start my own. I want this to be a real community. But you know what? If we've got this and YouTube and we've got Blue Sky, you know, heck, I'll even, you know, one thing at a time. So next time I'm going to tell you guys where to find me on TikTok, because all the shorts I put on YouTube, I'm now sharing on TikTok too. But thank you, Steven. You are awesome. You guys, I will find you there too. So that is a good thing. If I don't find everybody, let me know. I'm sure I'll miss people. I'm not, you know, I thought I was smarter. Okay, I was gonna make a self-deprecating joke about this election, but I think we're past those by now. One thing I did predict, though, and I'm gonna tell you that I got right again, to go back to our first point, is I said that night I get so angry. I was on a couple radio shows and streaming shows and was pointing out with mainstream media with millions of votes out, calling it a landslide. Even a large win would have been ridiculous when you knew so many votes were coming from literally the most Democratic state in the country, and New York City, one of the most Democratic cities, and it was ridiculous. And so I predicted at the time, I said, watch, it's going to get down to below 2 points probably, maybe 2 if he's lucky. I did admit that. I said it could be 2, but it's probably going to get down below, and it is. Now, I didn't even know it would fall below 1.5. I wasn't even that optimistic, and now it's honestly looking like it can fall way below. I don't blame you, Xavier, for this. I mean, again, a lot of folks have just closed down shop. I'm probably going to erase all of my tweets. I don't want somebody, so, you know, Elon using bots to create engagement with what I've left up there. Which, I mean, again, do you trust him not to do anything like that? So I'm probably going to get around to doing that. I will just leave the one post at the top that will tell people to find me at YouTube and Blue Sky. I'm also on Threads, but here's the problem with Threads, everybody. Before the election, about 3 months before, under orders, I'm sure, of Senor Zuckerberg, or should we say Commandant, Zuckerberg, who isn't evil in the way Elon is, who actually is a MAGA troll, right-wing, paranoid lunatic. But Zuckerberg only cares about his company and his company being the biggest and the baddest and making the most money. He's a complete libertarian, couldn't care less about politics. Either way, he'll do whatever it is that helps his company, including, oh, look, Steve Bannon and Cambridge Analytica got a hold of some of our data. Who cares? And that right away bothers me. But the arbitrary nature of the fact that 3 months before an election, they said that they didn't want it to become a political place. They were going to de-emphasize political content. That's it. The look of Threads is terrible. You can't actually, it's called Threads and you can't follow Threads. And there's no DMs. And now they're saying they're going to de-emphasize politics. So I have about 7,000 or 8,000 followers because I was on there doing some stuff. Not a lot, but a little bit. And I'm going to still put up stuff there. But Blue Sky is where I go for initial thoughts, ideas, you know, stuff I think is funny, stuff I think is interesting, and then threads come somewhere later, probably, along the line, where maybe I'll toss it up there sometimes when I'm in the mood. And Twitter, again, never, except for videos and things where it helps this community. I'm at 1.2K. Is that where I am? Tammy, I'm sorry. Tammy, thank you. I didn't know that. I'm at 1,200. It looks like I was at like 900, so it must really be going up. Kathleen, I put my name in there before on Blue Sky, but I'm going to share it again. And Allison McCrae for becoming a YouTube member. You don't know how much I will thank you. I really appreciate it. Again, members make it stronger, and I will get you the awesome content. No, I won't get you the awesome content I promised you on YouTube memberships or on Patreon. I'm going to get you better stuff because I'm going to create a better list. I'm going to go through it and get you cooler stuff. I promise you. You guys deserve it. You're letting me do this. But yes, let's blow up Blue Sky. Let's make that our place. All right. Why wasn't Trump charged with treason? That's a simple thing, Kathleen. It's a guy named Merrick Garland. He didn't put Jack Smith there until about a year and a half into the term. It's the definition of slow walking something. Merrick Garland was an Obama choice for the Supreme Court because he thought the right wingers would let him go on there because he was so moderate, almost center right, but more liberal on social issues. And we got what we paid for. I mean, again, I wrote ads for Biden. I think Biden did the infrastructure bill, the COVID, stimulus bill that got shots and arms people back to work. The only gun control bill we've had in 30 years that actually closed a couple of key loopholes. I think he did some amazing things. I think Biden will be remembered as an amazing president. He picked bad people for important enforcement positions. Jake Sullivan, National Security Advisor, who sat there the other day and said, we know what Russia did. We know all these things that Putin did, but we already have sanctions against them. So why would we do anything else? That's really going to stop them. Good job. You couldn't say, hey, now we're going to triple, quadruple, quintuple arm Ukraine. Like that, Vlad? But we don't do that. And Merrick Garland, again, if he'd put Jack Smith there a year and a half earlier before that stupid immunity case, and he'd done his damn job and looked at the other people that were at the Willard Hotel plotting. I've talked about this every day, so I'm sorry if I bore people here before, but plotting. Wait, I'm at 2.2, not 1.2? Oh, cool. Maybe I got that wrong. In any case, Kathleen, thank you. Hopefully it'll keep growing. But it's not quite 95,000 on Twitter, but you know what? That all means nothing to me now because that helps Elon. So where were we before I just got taken off track by that? I believe we were talking about good old Elon, and we were talking about we're saying stuff about why I'm not going to be on Threads as much. I'll be there here and there, but I don't trust what'll happen there. But Blue Sky is the place. That's where we can make it happen. And oh no, I know. I was asked by why Trump hadn't been charged. I mean, frankly, we know Mike Lee was in contact with Meadows, and some very damning stuff were in the texts because we saw them. He should have been charged. Chuck Grassley, what was he doing that day, thinking that he was going to be certifying electoral votes instead of Mike Pence? He should have been charged. There's numerous others. Ted Cruz worked with them, and he got reelected this time because Merrick Garland did nothing. Josh Hawley, remember, encouraged sedition. He got reelected because Merrick Garland did nothing, and numerous House members. The ones you'd expect: Marjorie Taylor Greene, Paul Gosar, Andy Biggs, Lauren Boebert, Matt Gaetz, all of the dumbest of the stupidest of the trashiest of the worst. Ron Johnson, yes, another one. Should have been investigated. Thank you, Carly. I don't know. I don't find anything suspicious about somebody going on the 4th of July in 2018, I believe it was, a year and a half after these folks have led this attack, this cyber attack on us and our system. I don't see anything weird at all about going to Russia on the 4th of July on our Independence Day. That's not the kind of way that they humiliate you like they just did to Trump with those Melania pictures. They don't do that at all. So they make you come and bow before them on the 4th of July. No way. I'm sure that was their idea, and it wasn't Putin saying, you better come over here and kiss my butt. And then Johnson came back here and literally, he was like a parrot, translated Russian to English. So we failed. And he failed specifically. Merrick did, and I will never forgive him, and American history will never forgive him. Because you know how tough this is. I actually have a little sign up there that says, "Don't swear." I think I've made it so far. Got somebody saying, "Hi, Sin. Are you in Cincinnati? Go with the Flow Farm." Jay Graber is the CEO of Blue Sky. American woman. Her mom actually escaped from, I believe it was her mom, from Chinese tyranny. The Chinese, and again, you can call them communist, just like you could call Putin if you want to, based on history of what they call themselves. But that's not. They're crony capitalism. The Chinese at the top of the elites in China make all the money. It's everybody else that starves because it's crony capitalism for the few. So I don't know enough about Jay Graber, but you know what I know? I know Jay Graber is not Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk, which makes Jay Graber far better than either of those two morons. Oligarchy, my buddy said, yes, that's where we are. When Elon Musk is getting on a phone call with Trump and Vladimir Putin, that is the definition of oligarchy. He has no appointed position in government. He doesn't have that kind of national security clearance that I'm aware of. I know he has some things for some of his defense projects, which again should have been taken away from him immediately. Guys, we need to make Democrats more aggressive. It doesn't mean we make them dumber and move them to the extreme sort of, crazy left so that they can't win. We need liberals and leftists and center left and center to unite, maybe even center right, and kick Republican butt. You can do both. You can actually care about people, but know that there's sociopaths over here on the right and go after them. That is how we win. That's what I've always preached. There's no policies that need to be changed. It's what we don't do. Again, what Dick Durbin didn't do. They better get every one of these judges appointed while Biden is still in office. Every one of them that's waiting, and everyone in an inspector general position, in important positions where they can look into the Trump government. This is existential to our country. And I mean, there was no urgency from Durbin, no urgency from Schumer. Hakeem Jeffries is so much better. We needed to go to that next generation with all due respect for older folks. My God, how long did it take us to get to Generation X? We're finally there, and we should be getting some millennials and Gen Z folks involved too, who aren't scared of Republicans, who weren't, frightened and hiding because Reagan was so popular. People don't even remember him. And Gen X people like me who were kids when Reagan was in office and weren't scared of him at all and know that everything Republicans do, except for the few things they lie about on ads, are like the most unpopular things in the world. I've said this again before. Background checks, 85 to 90% popularity. Assault weapons, 80%. Family medical leave, 80 to 85%. Choice, 75 to 80%. Climate, doing something about that is above 70%. Like everything is on our side. Okay? And yet, this is what they did. That's why in Missouri, people go out and vote for the ballot measure that makes sure that abortion is legal in Missouri while also voting for Josh Hawley and Donald Trump. It's insane because they propagandize them. They can destroy personalities much easier than they can destroy issues. Hi, Jim, Mods, Chat, and Cliff. Don't tell me Flynn will get a position. Okay, look, see, there you go. Bringing up another thing. You see, there was another one that we just didn't do. Flynn traveled around the country. He's a traitor. I mean, spoke about the country, attacked the country, was pro-Russia openly, was against us openly. We know he had private conversations with the Russians. That's why he had to leave after 2 weeks as Trump's national security advisor. He should have been court-martialed. His pension should have been eliminated. These are things that they could have done. And it's this stuff that drives me nuts, that Democrats do not use the power at their disposal. We've gotten so much better. We've certainly gotten better at the messaging. We've gotten better at some using power at our disposal. Some members of Congress, Jared Moskowitz, Eric Swalwell, Chris Murphy in the Senate, and others. I'm going to miss people, but you guys know it, Jasmine Crockett. But the fact that still Biden's administration, I guess an older administration, is maybe part of it, and just institutional memory, which is weakness in the Democratic Party. But Flynn, that should have been an open and shut case. He should have been court-martialed. And then he would never be able to serve in anything again. But nope, just like with Trump and Cruz and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they just whistle past the graveyard. Okay, I told you guys today wasn't going to be as long. Also, I have 2 teenage sons I need to go pick up from school. And I'm going to need to leave here about 3, a little bit after 3 my time. So we're at 2:36. We don't have a ton more time. So let me get to the last thing I was going to bring up. And then we can go just to all your questions, which is one bit of good news. So we've talked about blue sky. Get on over there. We talked about what else did we talk about? Well, we didn't talk about Trump. There was not a landslide. We didn't talk about what Trump is doing now, which will make you all happy, and we should try to blow this up as much as possible. He's attacking Republican senators, anybody who has not shown him full loyalty. So Cornyn and Thune are both running, or Toon, or however you pronounce his doofy name. They're both running for being the leader to take over for Turtle McConnell, maybe the single individual even more responsible than Merrick Garland or our press for the fact that Donald Trump is where he is, because McConnell, when he gave that blistering speech of Trump and said he was responsible for January 6th, he has institutional power in the Senate. He helped get a lot of those folks elected with dirty corporate money, and they owe him. And we already had 57 votes. You may remember we needed 2/3. We only needed 10 more votes. McConnell would have been one of them. I promise you, he could have brought 9 more people to the party, and we could have. And if Trump had been impeached and convicted, he never would have been allowed to run for president again. So that's on Mitch McConnell. And here's what else is on Mitch McConnell. Gee, Mitch, you may want to move with, his wife's family is from China, in Hong Kong's a nice town. I've been there back in the day, but the dictator's playbook is to eliminate all other power centers first. That would be people that could be rivals within your own group. Then you go to the other groups. Well, the only other power center I can think of right now, I'm sure there's others I'm missing, but one of the big ones is McConnell, because so many senators owe him for his election. That would make him a huge target of Trump's. And you know what? He earned it. Oops, whatever happens, happens. And because Cornyn and Thune, who both are trying to be leaders, were his lieutenants, he's going after them. They may want Rick Scott also. I mean, the thing about Rick Scott that may appeal to Trump's like, hey, look, a fellow Floridian criminal, a guy whose hospital created the biggest case of Medicare fraud in the history of the country and took took the Fifth Amendment over 50 times. And of course was never made to pay for what he did. But there was massive fraud. He was there. He should have been held responsible. And instead he made lots of money off of it. Sound like a story like Elon Musk or Donald Trump or other stories. This is why this country, again, we didn't use our power. There had to be prosecutors who at least were good government-minded, if not liberal-minded, that looked at aspects of Rick Scott, looked at aspects of Donald Trump's behavior, Elon Musk's, and could have gone after them. But no, we just didn't. So Rick Scott's running. I mean, he'd almost be a parody because he looks like Skeletor and all the other Republicans hate him. And maybe we should want him to win because the chaos in there, he and McConnell hate each other. So we should play up their divisions. That is one of our biggest possibilities right now for winning and winning big in the near future is just have them go to war with each other. So again, McConnell and Rick Scott. And then we also have Thune and Cornyn. And from what I hear, Trump's people, MAGA people, are not just going after them, but their families. I have a little bit of sympathy for their families because they didn't choose, well, wives did. So I have less sympathy for their wives. Their kids didn't choose to be their kids. But maybe now they're finding out what it's like for the rest of us. Because I've had people threaten my family from that side. So, yeah, maybe the beast you helped create, Thune and Cornyn or whatever, when you enabled Donald Trump, is now coming back to bite you in the butt. I wish you luck with that. I feel sorry for your kids, but I'm not going to lose a lot of sleep over it. You do what you need to do. Too bad. And that is what I have for today. Look at that, 40 minutes. Not too bad. So, Rick Scott, what are you saying here, my friend? Danny Dudalito. If that's not a cool name, Danny, I don't know what it is. We'll steal everything off of Social Security, Medicare. Yeah, well, he's practiced at stealing from Medicare, as I've said. It's something he's done. So allegedly, sorry. Yes, I think that you're going to see that. I think you are. I think you're going to see him attack Social Security, Medicare. We had my friend Alex Lawson on here in the past, who runs Social Security Works. He's literally one of the smartest Democratic operatives in Washington I've ever worked with. And I would tell you that if anybody can find the strategies to protect Social Security and Medicare, we are lucky. Very lucky to have Alex there, because Alex does not fight with kid gloves. He's that combination we want. Liberal, leftist, somewhere in that range who fights to win. There was something I saw in here that I wanted. Frank Stolar, I think you said it, that we are now part of the axis of evil. We are, actually. We are now part of, we're a rogue state. Europe, again, is going to turn inward if they're smart. Well, not inward. If they're smart, they'll ally with South Korea, Japan, numerous democracies in the East, democracies in Latin America. I think Brazil elected a more liberal government, right? More recently, I think that might be a place to ally with. Argentina elected that right-wing idiot, so not them. But that's what I'd be looking for, right? Canada, Iceland, whoever. The iceberg hit the Titanic. I don't know. Wherever you can find something hard like land, and there is a chance to make a alliance, I would, because I wouldn't trust us with any of your intel, with anything. And that's sobering. Trump and JD will lead the fight against NATO, the post-World War II order, which is probably most responsible for keeping us out of a nuclear war, much less other large-scale wars. That's the thing when you elect imbeciles, is it's not just on the few stupid issues where you're worked up or you've been fooled. There's a lot of other, like, actually world-changing issues going on out there, right? What else? Well, so now this is when we go to you guys. This is your section of the program, 15, 20 minutes. I want questions from you. I thought of that Titanic thing, by the way. I see this WW. What'd you say about the Titanic? Everybody understands that the Titanic was tiny compared to most modern cruise ships. Well, it's probably true. I'm sure. In fact, it definitely is true. I thought of that because somebody made a meme where the Titanic was Twitter hitting into the iceberg, which was blue sky, and I enjoyed that. Maury, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. McNaughton, like that name, nice, alliterative. You should be a writer if you're not. Another YouTube member. Thank you so much. I love that the memberships are growing. And you know what, guys? So I told you I'm going to add to the sort of the benefits of various levels. I'm working on that with somebody else who's smart at this. Tell me what you'd like. Right? I think we've got like a $5 a month level in there, a $10 a month, and there's even a crazy $25 a month. Anybody feel like doing like a Zoom with me? I mean, I think for $25 a month, you might deserve that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I just want you all to hang in there if you're not getting everything right away, because I'm trying to make this fire in all cylinders, which means, putting up shorts on TikTok now. And I've had an in that's supposed to start to help me out with this who hasn't been able to yet. It means I've been doing everything. And this is my side job. I have an email fundraising business for Democrats. It's the main thing. And we are right now raising money for every one of those House races, which, by the way, we had a couple of good results today. That's another good thing. We picked up 3 seats, more, where it was 213 Republican, 205 Democrat on the Democratic side, and you need 218 to win overall. But I would tell you right now that a bunch of races, we are so close to them, and they're in California where cities come in last, that we're behind by very little. That I could see us winning. Like, if we win the ones we're ahead right now, and only about 3 or 4, maybe 5 of the ones we're behind, we win the House. Although an evil part of me, what's your TikTok? Awesome. I'll put that up here too. An evil part of me on some level would actually love it if like Mike Johnson won. There we go. Sorry. If Mike Johnson won, but where's my profile? There it is. But he only won with 1 vote. It was 218 to 217. The utter hell he would be in. That's the evil part of me. The part of me that is more logical and cares about policy, wants us to win. Because frankly, if we won 218, 217, Hakeem Jeffries, unlike Mike Johnson, doesn't sit there monitoring his kids and isn't secretly going to clubs, I'm sure, at midnight for no reason, of course. He could manage to run the whole damn thing with 218 because our people actually know how to count votes. All right, somebody wanted my TikTok. I wasn't going to inundate you with everything today, But do that. I haven't done as much at TikTok yet, but I'm putting up all my shorts and I'm going to start trying to do a lot more there. There's also a Cliff's Edge Instagram I've done nothing, almost nothing with recently. Again, guys, like it's just like what I said about the YouTube benefits. Like until I get this person in working for me, there's just things I can't do because this isn't even my main day job. I thought they called the house RJ for $5. Did they? I don't want to spread misinformation or disinformation will be on purpose. So I don't want to spread misinformation. I didn't see that they called it. If I am wrong, then anybody else want to speak out here, please? In fact, I'll look because if they did, they did. Who won the house? There is one here, News Nation, but I don't trust them. Republicans win control. Because News Nation is conservative, of course. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I just want to make sure I see this from reputable. So I don't know. It may be that they do have it, but I haven't seen it yet. That's the only one I'm seeing who called it. What are you saying there? No one knows what the House race is. I've seen 218, I've seen 217. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I mean, Rob Law is saying this. That's what I saw, and I could be wrong. So I'm not sure yet. I do know that I went and looked a little while ago, and in California and in Arizona, and there was one other state, it was in Colorado, there are House seats where we were so close. And then that Marjorie Meeks, whatever her name is, God, she pisses me off. She won by 6 votes last time, and I looked, and she was up 51.1 to 49.9. This time she's up by 740 votes, and said 99% was in. So that's not a good sign, even though it's really close. I don't know what 1% of that vote is, but I don't know if it's enough to make it up. What I'm saying to you is, I saw what I saw. It looked like with what was left, like a bunch of them had only counted 75 or 80% of the seats in Arizona. The one I think there, and the ones in California, there were at least 4 or 5 seats there where we could pass them. And if we held on to the ones we had. So actually, if we do lose it, just going by that, I think we have at least 215 seats. Which would mean, again, they would have 220 to 215 will end up with the GOP. Yes, that's what I saw. So in other words, they have the advantage. And again, I'm not saying you're right and I'm right, but this is what I saw. They're going to have somewhere in that range. And if they end up with 215, guess what? Well, then we win. And if they end up with 216, we win. And then if they end up with 217, we win. Takes 218. So that was what I was aware of. Why kick Gates out? Yes, and I would say that word, but again, I'm not going to use the P word just because I need to see if these folks here will actually monetize me. Okay, why isn't the DNC challenging any of this currently? What do you mean by that? The vote in the House? I mean, I think they're counting legal votes, but maybe I'm missing part of who's the referee, the media. You mean on the votes? No, they have election workers there. I mean, Republican election workers in the past have not proven to always be the most reliable people, but they're Democratic ones too. I'm not aware of anywhere where they've actually kicked people out. Thank you for your voice and hard work, Cliff. Very much appreciated. Kathleen, thank you. I mean, you don't have to be here, do you? Just like I don't have to be. You can be off, probably enjoying your life and just saying, you know what, that's everybody else's problem. But we're not going to do that because neither of us and everybody else here, we're not made that way. We're made to fight. We're made to make sure other people have the same opportunities that we have or have had. Oh my God, did they name Mike Huckabee ambassador to Israel? That's got to be a gag. But no, it's exactly what they would do because they would name a white evangelical who wants to bring about the rapture of Israel. I mean, his whole purpose in going to Israel would be like, can I use sandpaper and attract all the Jews back here? Because we need all the Jews in Israel before Jesus' second coming when he takes out his large fiery sword, crushes the devil, and then raptures everything up. And then I've told Tony before, and I'll tell you guys, if you're good Christians, if you get raptured and I'm still here, I'm taking all of your stuff. Yes, they did name Huckabee. Oh my God, Mike Huckabee. I mean, again, you send somebody there because they have a clue what that place is about. And again, we're not getting into some big back and forth on here because I'm not doing it. But Bibi Netanyahu is there. Trump, he's evil. How he responded to the attacks in a year ago, October, were evil. But there was a riot when innocent people, just like me, who lived there, were attacked, and women were brutally, in ways I don't want to even talk about here. But it's just, of course, how Netanyahu chose to respond, because it's how Donald Trump would choose to respond, or Vladimir Putin, or so you're going to send Huckabee over there. Again, we have to just learn to laugh at this. I'm going to find some stuff of Huckabee playing his stupid bass guitar to hillbilly music on Fox News like he used to do, and maybe we'll put that out there. That'll be really popular in Tel Aviv, I'm sure. What a great, they are the trashy. They're the southern version, the Huckabees, of like what Donald Trump is in New York. He's the New York trash version of a grifter. The Huckabees, like when Mike Huckabee left the governor's mansion, this was a known thing in Arkansas and Little Rock. Everything that wasn't nailed down, there had been gifts that were given, furniture, all sorts of things that were given to the governor's mansion. He loaded them all up and took them to his home. Dead serious. There was a beach he got sued for in Florida because it's a public beach, and it was on his $3 million mansion, which, as you know, he was a preacher before. And obviously they were all so godly that they wouldn't want to take money, because it's hard for a wealthy man to get into heaven. I have a needle, camel, that whole thing. No, but Huckabee's been a grifter through and through, and his daughter learned well. I mean, what do $20,000 lecterns do for you guys? Do you know? If that's a $20,000 lectern, that should turn into like that thing I should be able to sit there and have that thing turn into a DeLorean and be like, we're going, we don't need roads. Now, if it turns into a DeLorean and it flies you into the future, her $20,000 on the lectern well spent. Otherwise, my guess is she could have gone to IKEA and got it for $400 and then tried to put it together herself and probably put it together upside down. Huckabillies, yes. The thing is that this isn't, I'm not making fun of the South. Like, as I said, Donald Trump's the New York version. There are versions of this in every part of the country. These grifty, trashy type people. But he certainly is a Southern version. Okay, what other questions do we have, guys, in our remaining sort of 10 minutes here? It will transform Middle East peace. Yeah. I know. Well, I mean, if by transforming Middle East peace, you mean there'll be more war. Marco Rubio has already come out and said that he will not even request a ceasefire. Again, I don't want to get into this whole conversation, but those that thought they were doing the right thing by voting for Donald Trump in Dearborn, Michigan, I actually feel sorry for the people who they claim to care about, who I guess I care about more than them, which are innocent people, not just in Gaza, the West Bank, all throughout the area there, because they have nobody protecting them now. At least Joe Biden and Kamala Harris were forced a couple of ceasefires, sit downs, told Bibi he couldn't do certain things. There's going to be nothing now stopping Netanyahu. He can do whatever he feels like there. Pardons, Cliff. I'm trying to get up there and get that, but my clicking on there is not working. So I'm being asked about pardons. Who are we talking about? Where you said you have pardons. Is that French? Pardon. Je peux parler un peu français. J'habitais là. Sorry, I lived there for a bit. Got to take that out every once in a while. I'm not sure. Are there any pardons? I mean, considering what Republicans do, and considering that Merrick Garland, while not going after like seditionists, chose to go after Hunter Biden on the two things Republicans literally do not care about and frankly think shouldn't be laws, on violations of gun law and tax law. Damn right he should do it. And again, this will be another example of not using his power. Oh, you're asking me who's going to be pardoned when Trump gets in? Oh, you just assume everyone who's been convicted for any connection to Trump will be pardoned. Somebody said Rudy Giuliani. Yep. The thing is that people don't get, you get it. But the thing about the silly, stupid, average MAGA voter is that all the ones that showed up on January 6th, he doesn't care about any of them, right? Like they're just they're the losers that go and do his bidding. He won't want to spend time in a room with any of them. They're poor. He said before, you can't be great if you're poor. You must be rich. He doesn't want anything to do with them. So a couple among them who he thinks maybe will do him some good, especially if it ends up becoming a couple of them he thinks will be his shock troops, like what Nixon had with Ehrlichman and Haldeman and some of those guys. Yeah, he may let a couple of them out, but my guess is maybe I should buy edibles again, Bonnie Thompson. I think you should buy a supply good enough for 4 years is what I would say to you. But if you think a lot of those people are getting out, you think he's just doing some blanket pardon of January 6th? He's not. He doesn't care about them. It's not worth the political capital. It's not worth all the scathing pieces. There'll even be right-wingers who'll be angry at him because they'll have to defend it in their districts. They don't want it, right? So you'll have a couple of folks. They'll find a way to let some folks out who are useful to him or maybe who have more money and let's say hand that money over to him. But your average, everyday MAGA loser who's in prison for it, man, they're not getting out. That is a prediction. We'll see. I think I'll be right on that. LOL, I was censored. It's fine. I'm a handful. Owen, by that face in your picture, I see where you could be a handful. I did not censor you, or at least on purpose. Maybe you were. Did they mod censor you? Were you being difficult? Cliff, will Merrick Garland get fired before Thanksgiving or Christmas? God, I hope so. But again, I mean, it's much better as Biden has gotten, and he's a lot better than Obama, folks, who, again, Obama, great president, let them steal a Supreme Court seat, watched as they just took it and didn't even mention it for a year during a campaign because they've been able to turn the Supreme Court into an issue we should have been able to. I know they've got the big media megaphone, but we still could if we concentrate on it. But I digress. Biden's been better, used his power better. But there's so many times where we could do something to diffuse, right? Like the debt ceiling, it doesn't exist in the Constitution. That's ridiculous. Where we could just mint $1 trillion coin or just say that in the interest of national security, there's no more national debt. There's no more debt ceiling. Like there's a number of ways you can get around that if you're willing to do it. But we never are. We don't use power. So do I think Biden is going to pardon his son or some other people? I don't. And that makes me sad. But I'm just trying to, and do I think Garland gets fired before Thanksgiving and Christmas? No. Absolutely, they should go to him right now. Our friend Sherry Jacobus did something on this. That should be what should happen. It should be very straightforward. Garland should be gone. Put somebody in there for 2 months who will scare the bejesus out of Republicans and get some people to start talking as soon as possible, start throwing people in prison. There's no cases. I mean, Trump can try to shut it all down once it's going, although I don't think he can shut down independent cases going on. I mean, he could be a dictator and do lots of things that aren't allowed in the Constitution if we don't fight him. But he could pardon them after. But I think still it's quite useful if the Democrats just don't get PR this way. Holding hearings, even if you know that they're not going to end up in our face, and you're not going to be able to convict anybody, is PR. Holding trials for people that are guilty of doing terrible things, even if he's going to pardon them in the end, is PR. Like the Democrats, so many. I shouldn't say Democrats because some of us do now, but some still just don't get it. Don't get how this game is played. It drives me nuts. MTG Secretary of Defense. Why not? Why not? I mean, you ever see her do those workouts where she spins herself around the thing with her shoulders? If you work out, you would know that tears your shoulders. And one of these days, her shoulders are basically just going to be completely torn to shreds. And I'm going to laugh. She'll even look more like an ape than she does now when she walks with her arms swinging in front of her. President Javier Milei, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but yes, that's who I was referring to before, from Argentina. He's also a member of the Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue in New York, New Jersey areas, attends some temple where Jared Kushner and Ivanka go. Yeah, they're all allies. They're all on the same team because he's a crazy right-wing nut too. Pat Lowig, Jewish lasers. I wish I had some of those right now. I know how I'd use them. But I can tell you, at least from my personal experience, if there is a gene that exists inside some Hebrew members of our society wherein they have the ability to access lasers, I do not. So, man, did I get screwed on that one if that's true. Not just arms, but legs too, Carly. Yeah, well, if you're talking about Marge, it's more like the hooves that she has. Like, what is that? Does she have like 3 toes? Is she a, was it called a minotaur? God, people are so horrible. Herschel Walker going to build Jewish space lasers. Herschel Walker could not probably build himself, oh, I don't know, a ottoman. He's missing a lot of brain like Donald Trump is. Forked toes, cloven hooves. Yeah, we're getting it all here. All right. So, any last questions, guys? Because I do have to go grab my children's, good kids, older one, old enough, who voted the right way. Poor guy. I can't imagine having this be your first election. Joe Rogan, head of the FTC. Sure, why not? See it happening. Why not? Do you guys like these question and answer sort of sessions? Because again, if I'm going to do these things 4 times a week, you know, I could see myself having a guest on twice a week, but twice a week, I'm probably just going to do a lot of like questioning. What is right behind your head? Let's see. Here we have presidential Pez dispensers. Here we have the great Bruce Springsteen. Here we have the great Mickey Mantle. I know the light sort of shines off their belly. Here we have my late father's history dissertation. He got a history master's at NYU on Southern politics. So, you know, we might have to read that to everybody. Here we have rum. Here we have a book on beer. And here we have one of the more important books I've ever read in understanding politics, and you all should too. And he wrote it in 1970, Richard Hofstadter's The Paranoid Style in American Politics. If you haven't read it, guys, you really should. It explains, you would read it and you'll get freaked out at where we are today. Like he predicted it because he looked at past movements and he kind of saw where the right was headed that long ago. Sadly died of cancer. Art of Warrior by Sun Tzu. That would be a good one to read too. I have some useful stuff up there. If we come from the apes, why are there still monkeys, Cliff? That's one of my favorite ones by the ones who are when they're being serious, who are against, who don't believe in evolution. I think, what's his name, asked that one time. You know, crappy comedian, killed somebody. Tim Allen, that's the one. Do you think creators of Project 2025 will call for the 25th Amendment on Trump? They want J.D. Vance in there. I mean, he's even though they differ on stuff, the religious right, who obviously doesn't think we should be keeping ourselves alive in fake ways, and the oligarchy that want to be cyborgs and live forever. And no, I'm not kidding. Thiel wants that. But they agree on the dominance of white male Christians, and they, you know, in general, and, you know, they let some people like Vivek Ramaswamy into that, who act just white enough for them, and whatever that means. But they're coming together on these various things, and Vance is their guy to forward it, right? Catless child ladies and all that, because it's all about producing more young white kids, because they want to have that be the majority in this country, and they're threatened by anything else. I think that I think they will, if Trump is around long enough. I think they looked at Trump's mental state too. Trump was a vehicle to get them there. Again, not to me and not to you, but Trump has a weird charisma for the lunatics. Clearly, there are so many people. The reason why there was a drop off and we won a bunch of those Senate races is a lot of these guys came out and voted just for Trump. Like, he's the WWE, you know, apprentice, all this stuff. Like, he's like a celebrity, gross. And people like fall for his act because he also makes jokes, has a sense of humor, even though it's a terrible one. But at least he has one. It's always at other people's expenses. Now, I mean, you can tell because after you look at him, look at J.D. Vance or Tim Cotton or Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz or Josh Hawley or Mitch McConnell. I can go on. These are people that honestly are as boring as paint drying. So they knew J.D. Vance wouldn't get elected. He's like a pile of wet socks dragged through like dog feces, you know? I mean, nobody finds his personality even the slightest bit attractive. He can't order donuts. So what was going to happen there? You need to get him in there somehow. You get him put on VP, which Teal got done. And you just kind of assume that because Trump has hamburgers for breakfast and his biggest workout is walking 3 steps or riding in a golf cart, and he's enraged all the time. And you could already see those early reports that Ronnie Johnson, even though he was probably drunk at the time, released on Trump. That Trump had the beginnings of heart disease. I think they're assuming Trump's gonna, in the next year and a half, is gonna drop dead, and that wouldn't be a crazy thought to have, because again, if you look at average ages and whatever, and how he treats himself, how much he takes care of himself. So I think they think they'll get there. So I don't know that they'll try the 25th right away, because there are enough MAGA loyalists out there. And they don't want this. That's the crazy thing. All these MAGA nuts are just Trump cultists. Won't they be in for a surprise when some of the things that they did not expect start getting banned by a Project 2025 or even proposed? We are at 3:07, guys. Bonnie Thompson, Trump is a long-term druggie. This is what I've heard. Some combination of the sniffy white stuff and crushed Adderall. But again, I've just heard that, and it is alleged. I don't have proof. Noel Castler said that. Maybe we'll have him on here sometime. I think this is it, guys. I think we're at that point. I would love to do this. I even easily have another half hour in me today, but I need to go get my guys by 3:30. So I wanted to thank you for being here. Hopefully you learned some stuff. We can summarize it, right? Trump's targeting other Republicans. Yay. Let's exacerbate that. Going after these senators that weren't loyal enough, Cornyn and whatever. Let's let them see what we went through. 2, Blue Sky. You can keep your Twitter account open if you want, but start doing most stuff at Blue Sky. You know to find me. Please follow me there. I also put up TikTok. Please follow me there. Of course, subscribe to me on YouTube, right? Again, we're less than 7,000 away. I get a little 100,000 plaque, and I don't even care about that. What I've heard is I get a personal conversation with them, so I can say to them, why do you keep putting my live streams unlimited ad suitability, and can I still curse? Not a landslide everywhere you go. Say this, 1.4% last we looked, and more votes are coming in. I promise you it falls to 1.2, and it may even fall to 1.11, or in my dreams, under 1%. So these are all important lessons we take from today. Hopefully I have answered your questions. I've done my best to do so. You guys are fantabulous. And even though I think I got like my opening statement coming to you from the great Queen City, Radio City, welcome to the party kind of thing. I threw them all in today. That may be too much. You guys can tell me. I still don't have the exit. So we're going to try some from movies, okay? So here's what we're going to say next. We're going to say this time. You guys can all guess. I'm sure you know what movie it's from. But as I leave you, I say very simply to you, leave the gun. Take the cannoli. Take care, guys. Talk to you soon.